Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Now, my guest this morning is Dr. Fassi Yusuf. He's a lawyer and a communications expert and fellow of the University of Lagos. Chief Dr. Fassi Yusuf, thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure, Yori.
Communication, there's so many different aspects to it.
Yes.
Recently, Reuben Abati had put out the spiritual side of Aso Rock notion. And as you know, it was laughed to derision by so many. In fact, most people just hounded it out of town, but it refused to go away because people are still talking about it, both ordinary people and indeed his intellectual fellows. Now, when you look at so many things that are going on in the polity, especially coming out of the presidency, there are those who are saying that what's going on exactly? Where did we start from? Where are we now? Is the place for Reuben Abati's notion really the dustbin?
Well, I mean, that may not be so, because if you ask me, I will tell you that yes, something must actually be wrong with Aso Rock. And the fault must lie with Aso Rock. See, the problem with and of Nigeria lies with Aso Rock. And that's the leadership of the country. So if anything is not happening there, then we must try to ask questions. So Reuben Abati must have spoken from or must have written from experience.
Oh yes, he did. He did. You remember he said he was writing from personal experience.
He was there for about 5 years, if not more than that. So he must have seen it all. And from my own little experience in government too, there were some people I knew before they got to Aso Rock. By the time they were there, they were changed completely. And by the time they came out, they were singing a different song. So to that extent, it might be right. And you see, it all depends.
But is there not the fear of all of this being seen really as hocus pocus? And there are those who have very annoyed said that it's unbefitting even of conversation.
Well, I do not think so. I think if we are critical about our situation, if we analyze the situation in this country, and we're able to know that things ought to be better than they are, then out of his aspiration, out of disillusionment, one will be forced to cry out and say it out. You see, he spoke from experience, he wrote from experience. And if you want to be objective, I mean, you must be concerned about the goings on in the country. I mean, things are falling apart. If they are not falling apart completely, they are falling apart. Everybody agrees. APC agrees, PDP agrees, the whole nation agrees that we are not getting the best out of the system. And
although falling apart might be, stretching it a bit, definitely turbulent times, but falling apart?
When I say things, okay, is the economy not falling apart? Is the social equilibrium the same? Is the polity the way it should be? The crisis in the northeastern part of the country, the south-south situation, the rate of kidnapping, we're in a state of anomie. We're in a state of anomie.
But to attribute all of these to quote-unquote demons, as opposed to governance.
It all depends on the weight you want to attach to that statement. He must have written, don't forget that Reuben Abati is a literary genius.
He's a dramatist.
He's a dramatist. He must have dramatized it, or he might have also, he might have dramatized it. He might have written a satire that so you and I may not really be able to decode.
You think?
Well,
it was pretty straightforward.
But to some extent, honestly, something is wrong with Aso Rock.
Okay.
Something is wrong.
Well, a lot of...
I think we need to do some soul searching.
And you know what the rub is here, Fassi? The rub is that the notion he put out is indeed one that most Nigerians do identify with, away from Aso Rock talk and Aso Rock matters. But they concede that it is not everything that is, as the one language, Yoruba language puts it, it is not everything that is the ordinary eye. You understand that, my
yes.
horrible translation. And that these things must be prayed about.
Yes.
And indeed, you can bring in the services of, what are those people called?
Marabas?
No. Well, I was going for the church, these different pastors. What
The
is
clerics or what?
Yeah, these deliverance pastors,
Yes.
spiritual warfare pastors,
Yeah.
that all of these things, you cut them out of, you can't have them in governance, but nevertheless they are having an effect. So is the fantastic notion, perhaps, of Reuben Abati.
No, I think I just said, let's define the type of weight we're going to attach to that write-up. But let's go into specifics. Why are things not working out?
Why?
Why is the administration not delivering on its promises? Why is the nation not advancing? Why is the economy not being jump-started? Why is the social milieu being what it is now? Can't we be better off? Can't we make better progress? Are we making any progress at all? Why is everything upside down?
Really? You think it is in that state of anarchy? It's as bad as that?
No, I've not talked about anarchy. I've talked about social disequilibrium. I've talked about things not working the way they should. Mm-hmm. We are not in a state of complete...
Like the economy, for instance,
yes, we
that
are
has been explained.
We are moving towards anomie. We are not in a complete state of anomie yet. But we are saying that things ought to be better. If things don't get better, then we are in greater trouble tomorrow.
So, we're going to take a break because for things to be one way or the other, it has to have come from a certain way of thinking that has then come out. And if it is said that the visa has things that can interfere with your thinking so that you come up with the exact opposite.
That is his own perception.
Yes, indeed.
He may be right, and I believe that there are some elements
to what he says.
To what he said.
Okay, stay with us, please. We'll just take a quick break. We'll bring on another contributor, and we'll continue. Okay, welcome back. So we're looking at a fantastic notion, demons in Aso Villa, the spiritual side of Aso Rock, prompted by Reuben Abati, former special advisor to the former president, and when he came up with this article that beyond all the permutations, beyond all the academia, beyond all the known theories and philosophies, no matter the governance, there's still something that people are not taking account of. There are demons in Aso Rock, and they could actually make you end up doing the exact opposite of what you wanted to, and that's when they're being pretty benign. Otherwise, they can go as far as killing you. Fantastic notion, right? There are those who are actually annoyed that it is getting the airtime that it is getting. But when we started off, we've been joined by Malam Ahmed Moyosore Jaji. We started off, Chief Dr. Fasi Yusuf, and he had said, well, he wouldn't put it all in the dustbin. How about you?
Well, I think I tend to agree with Dr. Abati. That is, coming from somebody, at least at the lowest rung of the governance in this country, local government level, I was an executive secretary. And I knew the kind of, pressure associated with that office, emanating from people around you who are bent on manipulating you towards a certain end.
Yes.
And you two sitting down there as the man that will, what do you call it? You say authoritative allocation of scarce values within this system.
Yeah.
You decide who gets what and who doesn't get something. So following from that, people are always jostling for your attention. And from that, they will tell you what they want you to, to hear and like, to favor them.
And think.
You can
think.
And think.
And even think. Isn't
Yes.
that your responsibility finally?
Now, it is
Say
not your own.
everything, do all of that, but it's my responsibility to think.
It takes the grace of God for you to be able to meander through the intrigues involved. Because everybody is striving for
Malam Jaji,
your attention to...
I hear you.
Yes.
But, and be that as it may, maybe this is how this thing is beginning to come a bit more into focus. When you're in school, you're learning about civics, you're learning about government,
Yes.
then later on you learn about political science. None of this hocus pocus factors into all of it. None of this hocus pocus. Nobody trains you for that, and that's why some people are throwing it out without even giving it a thorough, perusal.
The theory is just a compass towards an end. You want to study political science? Yes, we are talking of rule of law, due process,
Yes.
and whatever.
Or if
in the
it were
classroom,
governance, if it were governance,
yes,
good governance.
in the classroom. But when it comes to the practical aspect of it, you will see that you need to do a lot of modifications to, get it done, get things done, and in the process.
Okay, I hear you. You see, we're speaking very much the way we do, and that was what brought about this whole conversation. That, the notion that was almost thrown out of hand. A lot of Nigerians, I would wager, actually would not, in their own private capacity,
Yes.
disdain it. But because it is coming from a very, very unusual source, there can't be demons in Aso Rock. But Fassi has said that it's possible that we're being, let's not be too direct.
As I said earlier.
Let's not be too direct in the translation.
It is possible. There's nothing impossible. After all, Jesus Christ was tempted. Muhammad was tempted. But at the end of the day, you bear full responsibility for your action and inaction.
The box stops on
The box stops on your table. So if you allow the demon to lead you, good luck to you. If you allow the Almighty God to lead you, so be it. But the unfortunate thing is that if you allow demon to lead you, the nation will be the worst for it.
The very nature of demons is that you don't know they're leading you.
Why?
Isn't it?
Don't you have conscience?
I see.
You've not read it. You've not read the Bible. You've not read the Quran to know that something is right, something is wrong. And why did you accept office in the first instance? You want to allow them to rule you, to direct you.
Well, nobody wanted demons to direct them. In fact, it was Ruben Abati who blew the lead on the whole thing. Nobody even thought in those terms. Nobody even thought in those terms.
Most of us do it consciously or subconsciously. You see, by the time you get to public office, you now believe that I want to listen to those I want to listen to. You don't want to listen to voice of reason. You don't want to listen to critics. You don't want to listen to the other side. You believe that your ways are always right. And therefore, those people will take advantage of you. But if they know you that you subject whatever you do to public scrutiny, to public analysis, and that you allow your conscience and you allow the fear of the Almighty God to take control, it becomes difficult.
Now, perhaps what Fassi has just said, his theory is what might have led to what is being perceived as perhaps instability within the ruling party.
You see, a writer...
Because there are all sorts of charges and counter-charges, and then rapprochements and promises of things getting better and all of that.
A writer puts it, and maybe one British sociologist, philosopher, he said, the conscience is an arrested judge. Yes, your conscience will tell you that this thing is not good. But because of the human being, humanness, what you have inherent, what you have in you, and you have a goal, you might disregard the conscience for that time. That is why it's arrested. Later on, he said, my mind was telling me, I should have done it this way instead of this way that I did it, that is now boomeranging or whatever. But the point is that as a leader, you must be guided by the grace of God. You must be fair. You must be firm and focused.
So that you don't take actions that could have unintended consequences.
Yes, 3 Fs. You must be firm, fair, and focused. If you can combine the 3 successfully, you'll be a good leader. But in a situation where you have people surrounding you with their own different agenda,
to the detriment of other groups within your total audience?
Yes, they are fighting. That is what we call centrifugal forces within that system itself.
Demons are supposed to be very good at that one.
Yes. No, everybody, all those people appointed, they are representing what Emir of Kano referred to as vested interest within the polity itself. I'm representing a view or a tendency within the same party. The other man is representing another view within the same party, and it's allowed. It now depends on who the leader that is being fed this kind of, different, how you can assess the information being given to you, and you now use it for the betterment of the society. But unless you have that grace of God directing you to the right path, we are all human. You can be susceptible to any of the manipulations.
Every action, even perhaps inaction always has its own, counterpart
Yes.
action. And you don't often know where a decision that you take is going to end up. You can do your best to predict it, study it, and make an informed choice, but sometimes things end up the way that might not have been
If
intended.
you subject it to scientific analysis, and you're able to you do your research properly, like you said, if you're focused, and again, following from research, you're able to know what the people want. But where you sit down and you're cocooned, and perhaps you're boxed to a corner, or you're isolated from the society, then you get it wrong. And that's what is happening now.
All right, right there, for example, I wonder what your thoughts are on the seeming re-emergence of AD as a political, factor.
Well, Nigerian politics...
First of all, is that horse even going to jump?
Listen, Nigerian politics is devoid of any intellectual depth. There's no philosophy, and there's no credibility in Nigerian politics. You see, when Nigerian politicians talk about permanent interest, and where the interest seems to be jeopardized or threatened, then you can expect a realignment of forces, and that's likely to happen in the APC. And let me also say that don't forget the background to APC. It's an amalgamation of strange bedfellows, and where they find it difficult to really integrate properly, you can see the type of situation you are now witnessing in the polity. So you'll not be surprised today if APC breaks into 2, 3, 4 factions. But unfortunately, the electorates themselves, and in any case, we don't even know whether the electorates are allowed to speak or not. With the ineptitude of INEC, we don't know. So we are not even in a position...
That is, speak through their votes.
Well, yes. We don't know whether their votes really reflect the actual way they wanted it.
So why all of this confusion? Maybe Jaji, maybe you could contribute. Why all of this confusion over a straightforward notion of change? We can't do things like before anymore, unless we want to die. And nobody.
But if you do it the same way, you get the same result.
But if you go on in the same way, by whatever means,
you see,
you're going to end up with the same result.
Change depends on who is talking about change. Like you rightly put it, APC is composed of, like Dolly Parton's record, famous record, coat of many colors, But it was very, very necessary as at the time APC was formed. ACN couldn't have toppled PDP, neither could CPC. But if you are able to form a formidable group, and as at that time, whether we want to accept it or not, there was a very big disagreement in the PDP. Now, they were bent on, like the Aso Rock Mafia then, they were bent on presenting the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, as the presidential candidate of the PDP, and others too were saying, yes, they had interest. And, the power of the presidency is enormous. And in fact, the Nigerian presidency is the most powerful president in the whole world. They use all this abracadabra to make sure that those people didn't have a say. And they now said, okay, like he said, politics is all about interest. If my interest is not assuaged here, I have every right to move to the other side. And we are fond of saying it in Nigeria that all the political parties here, the difference between them is just like 6.5 dozen. But our own argument is, if you want to spell 6, you only use 3 words. If you want to spell half a dozen, it's...
Oh, okay.
So when you say the difference is between 6.5 dozen, it's a misnomer.
Well, so there are differences then, more than people are willing to allow,
yes,
is what you seem to be saying.
They now came into the APC with their own agenda. But the most motivating factor then was that, let's sack these jokers. And they were able to do it. But the internal contradiction inherent in the formation of the party, unfortunately, they didn't let us even enjoy the government before it burst out.
So there wasn't a sort of there wasn't a smooth, consistent blend of what the parties that came together to become APC.
Yes.
And then now, so this analogy would go, some of it that didn't blend properly, that may be coagulated, is sort of detaching itself possibly.
I mean,
with
it's
a
obvious.
notion that to say that, you know what, let's see if we can grow
a party
again.
controlling a government is having, in the Senate, is having a deputy Senate president from another party, which had never occurred in Nigeria. The first time it occurred was in 1979, when we had...
Yeah, but who do you blame for that?
Ume Ozoke.
The
Yes.
same demons? The same demons?
No, the demons then were not as, as bad as they are now.
And the state
As
too.
at that time,
And the
as
state too.
at that time, if a party chairman should stand up and say, this is what the party stands for, everybody will kill. Not now.
So things are not
They are not
getting
the same.
better, even if this in minute ways. But aren't we looking at the little battles instead of the overall war? Aren't we looking, gentlemen, aren't we looking at using an ultra zoom lens to look at battles which are necessary in any war, but the overall objective is the war?
You see, there's a Yoruba proverb that says, Amukun, the cow-legged woman,
Not need.
Not
not
need.
need. And somebody asking her, what's the source of this your
Of the crookedness of
crookedness
your load.
of your load? Say, no, I'm sorry for you.
Check my
So
legs.
you are looking at the load there. If you check the bottom to see my legs, to see what is happening there.
If my legs are straight,
In other words, the foundation.
The foundation. And again, you see, they all went into this alliance, to produce APC without looking at the strategic issues of, if you rescue this power from PDP, what do you do with this power? They were not able to address it. And again, this...
No, but that's
the-
just your
the-
opinion.
no.
That's just your opinion.
Excuse me.
No.
Excuse me.
It is
I'm
your
an
feeling.
analyst. I'm an analyst.
Yes, but it is
I'm
your
not,
feeling.
I can counter it.
I'm not obliged.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
not obliged to succumb to any
Sure,
other.
sure.
But it's my own. That's why I'm an analyst. I'm entitled to my opinion. Even those within the same party, they hold divergent opinions. So what I'm saying is that there's no party supremacy. Even look at
And that's a mortal danger.
yes, and again, look at what is happening within the party. The party is not able to implement its own manifesto. Nobody foisted this on them. They agreed that, look,
When you say unable to
Yes.
implement his own manifesto, which particular one?
so many,
Or-
500,000 people, second year running, we've not got it. Emile Day, we've not been able to start it.
Yeah, but we have to prioritize in the.
Well, prioritize, why we told that?
But doesn't it stand to reason? I don't know. Because
Listen,
people have to work with what they got. And
in 1979, when UPN came on board, they hit the ground running.
I remember.
So this
And
is
so
by May now, this government will have spent half of its term.
okay. Your
You see, I want to make something very clear. In spite of this thing, I'm not representing APC here.
no.
But I can...
Okay, you're APC.
Sure.
Yes.
Unapologetically. But I can
Am
assure
I
you...
PDP? Why did you bring me here?
No, you're not. You're not PDP. You're an analyst. You came here because you're an analyst.
That's why I'm making that clarification, sir. But the fact still remains that when I made the statement earlier on, I said people came with different agenda. And when the party was formed, the party won election. Before the party could even hit the ground rolling, as he quoted Chief Awolowo's, Chief Awolowo had time to sit down and say, this is what I want to do. And he had people that really keyed into his vision. We don't have it in APC now because some people came with different mindsets entirely. And they started executing their own plans as soon as the party got into power. That is why all those things he's now mentioning they are finding it very, very difficult to implement.
But can the party actually move forward with its objective of governing for development and for progress with all of these troubles?
I'm sorry.
Effectively.
I'm sorry. That is why the interview granted by the First Lady, the wife of the president, the interview she granted in BBC, to some of us, that interview was very, very timely and is going to save APC as a party. Because it was a clarion call that, no, this wasn't the objective. The party gave you...
An accidental.
Eh?
It must have been an accidental one.
You mean the woman?
Yeah.
She said,
the clarion call that you spoke about, it must have been accidental, unintended.
She observed, before you kill my husband, if he is not able to speak out, I will speak out. Whether you want to listen to me or not is your cup of tea.
That was your read.
That's my own reading. She campaigned with the husband in nearly all the 36 states of the federation. Nobody knew, nobody consigned her to the kitchen. So now, if she's now talking that something is going wrong, and that was what prompted Ruben's, drama sketch of Devils in, because those people that really work for the party, where are they? And those who are now calling the shots, they don't belong to the party. They never even work for the party. So if my husband will not say it, I will say it.
Okay, we're going to take a break there. We'll come back and pick up on it. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And my guest still, Dr. Fassi Yusuf, Chief Dr. Fassi Yusuf, lawyer and communications expert, a fellow at the University of Lagos, and Malam Ahmed Moyosore Jaji, political scientist, who just before we left, looking at the whole matter of, apologies to or thanking Reuben Abati for his article, the spiritual side of Aso Rock, wherein he was speaking about demons within the house, and these might be. And somehow, in that whole rambling conversation, you managed before, just as we went away, to bring in Mrs. Buhari and saying that it was, what did you call it, a divine intervention or whatever?
No, timely,
and I had said that, look, this must have been totally, because that shocked everybody, and but it looks like it's been managed well and all of that, and we seem to be getting on with it. But these are part of he's brought out another dimension, what the First Lady said on behalf of the President, which...
On behalf of the President?
Well, no, it wasn't even on behalf of the President, sorry.
As
what she said in her own capacity.
As a practitioner.
That shocked a lot of people.
person.
Well,
it was...
The most important role is that...
It was the cry of a frustrated wife. Exactly. The cry of a frustrated woman. Because she was there in the beginning. She's still there. And she saw that things were not going the way they ought to go. And that nobody was prepared to listen to her. I don't know them from Adam or from Eve. But the point is that something actually was going wrong there. And again, reading and seeing what is happening in the country will have made her to do that. But again, some people will say and accuse her of washing the husband's dirty linen in public.
Or interfering in politics.
No, interfering. No, you can't say that. Everybody is a political animal.
She's
and not only that, she's the wife of the president. She was actively involved in the campaign. And she's a tremendous stakeholder. And above all,
but policy...
she represents the majority gender in this country. And they are known to vote more women. So mobilizing them wasn't an easy task.
It was not a small feat.
You must consider to her that she's very cerebral, very intelligent, a very intelligent woman.
Yes. And so
but how the whole thing was handled,
yes.
how it started, beats me. You see, because I cannot imagine the house of the president being tatters. That is my own concern.
And is that the impression you got from Maisha's interview?
Of course, it means things were no longer the same in that house of Buhari.
In a state of flux, sort of.
Well, not really. What I'm saying is that something is technically wrong.
You see?
Technically wrong.
I don't know.
Okay. Using football analogy,
yes.
Technically wrong.
Yes.
When you look at a game.
Not synchronizing.
Okay.
Things not synchronizing. Things not synchronizing.
And that is leading to instability, at least within the ruling party.
It means there were some forces there that the wife of the president could not reconcile with. And again, it does appear that the president was enjoying these forces.
You see, the president, we are where we are today because of the president's taciturnity, his ambivalence to party problems. You must be involved. You cannot accuse. That is what Obasanjo, you cannot take away from OBJ. You must be interested in what is happening within your party, within the government. But these people, they sat down, they read the president that, he doesn't want to detach from all these things. Like the way the man emerged as the Senate president, there was a lot of, giri. The man came from Germany. That same morning, they were supposed to have a meeting, and he said he was not interested in who becomes and the people in the party, they started maneuvering, and here we are today.
Although people talk about no undue influence from the top in internal affairs of other people.
There must be undue, that is theoretical. There must be undue influence. Is it not the party that gave you the platform to become what you are? It's not the dog. It's the dog that wags the tail, not the tail wagging the dog. The president is a product of a political party that gave him, and the same thing with any elected official on the ticket of APC. So you must be interested, and that is why when Chief Fassi was, reeling out things APC has not been able to do, I just started laughing that enjoying Kosa, because if things had been the way it should be from ab initio, APC should be executing, but nobody fathomed the kind of, looting that took place. Where do you get money to do all these things?
Okay, 1 second, please. Good morning, Mr. Shola from Iyanopaja.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. Demon in the higher place of authority. Demon in the highest place of authority, true or false?
True.
It is very true. How do I say this? There is nothing that will happen in the physical world that will not first manifest in the spirit realm. Who is in charge of the spirit? And who anchors the person who is in the seat of power, or who these forces are going to work with, is another thing. As a Christian, studying from the Bible, you know too well that the power that brings the king to office will determine what affects the nation. You read the story of Nebuchadnezzar. You study the life of Cyrus, the king, with the story of those around him, like the Daniels of this world, and the kind of result such a leader want to have. You study the story of
you can't go on for too long. Shola, we get your drift. We get your drift. We get your drift.
God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Interesting one. A lot depends on how did he put it.
Maybe I should come in there. You
Yes.
see, sometime last week, we were debating this same issue, and somebody introduced religion, and that it was bad for a woman or Muslim. I said, my friend, look here. Nigeria is a secular state, and the election that brought Buhari into power was not conducted among Muslims alone. I'm a Muslim. I'm not a scholar, but I'm very, very well versed in the Holy Quran. I now cited the relevant, text in the Quran to tell him not to bring in this thing. Muhammad didn't beg for votes. So it will be anomalous for you to now compare Muhammad with Buhari. Muhammad, his relationship with his wife, and that of Buhari with his wife. They are two different things entirely. Religion has got nothing to do with it. So bringing Nebuchadnezzar or whatever into 21st century matter is not it at all.
One moment, sir. Mr. Omotosho, good morning, sir. Is Mr. Omotosho still there? Omotosho? Well,
He will come back.
he will come back. There must be a problem on the line there. I was coming along with that last caller because it's what you've also just what you've said, that look, whatever we have before us, they say is a product of thinking, and whatever the kind of thinking and
Rationalization.
He used a different analogy, which is also relevant about everything first of all in the spiritual, before it manifests in the material. Yeah. We know all about that, and that's why we're saying that. Look, wait a minute. Is this a particularly Nigerian thing? I mean, there is a church in Aso Rock, there is a mosque there. You go to the White House, religious, we take that for granted. It is observation. But what the question is beyond that is what some people are now saying.
Yori, I've said it here on this station on many occasions, that you see, this is a country of people patronizing the two religions, like no any other nation. But we have not allowed this, the teachings of the Holy Quran, the teachings of the Holy Bible, to permeate, to reflect on our daily operations. Because what else do we want in this country? You have a Christian leader as vice president, you have a Muslim as president. So we balance. And I think that was what was responsible for not presenting two Muslim candidates. So much about religion, less of spirituality, to the extent that our leaders spend too much time worshiping God, but not practicing practical things, spiritual, things that will deliver us.
Okay. Femi, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a first-time caller.
Sure. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. I just want to speak on the what the former presidential spokesman mentioned.
Yes, Dr. Ruben Abati.
In my opinion, I think it's not a new thing, because even in the marketplace, we come up against opposition, spiritual opposition. But the point is this: if you call yourself a change agent, okay, and you have spiritual authority, you should be able to use that authority that you have to bring about that change. Because one, you would have prepared yourself, and you should know what you are coming up against. Okay, and I was going to say that, why didn't he say all this when he was in office? Why is he saying that when he's out of office?
Okay.
So in other words, there's no point in what he's saying.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in. Why didn't he bring all of this up when he was in office? That I know what the problem is. Is these demons running around in Alpha
It's affecting us.
And it's
not allowing
good
luck to perform. It's not allowing my boss to perform.
Yes.
When I was coming out in my car, I was playing one song. That is Ayla Omowura. He said, "Till ìrẹsì bá ń pàkúta, ẹnu oníbàárà kan ló yẹ ká ti gbọ́." That is, a beggar comes to you.
You can't look a gift horse in the mouth.
You now say, this rice you have given me is riddled with stone.
Yes.
It's your business to take it and go and remove the stones. It's not my business anymore.
Yes.
So if anybody should talk about that, about the demons in Aso Rock, I'm very sorry to say Dr. Abati is a close person to me. He is not the right person to say, but for the future generation, for good governance in Nigeria, I think we should applaud him for bringing it out. Because when you are talking of English, you have metaphoric interpretation, you have literary interpretation.
Ruben Abati was not being metaphoric. He was reporting.
He used metaphor.
Ruben Abati, my impression, let me put it that way. My impression was that he was, the man is a fine writer, a dramatist. When he's doing satire, you know he's doing satire. When he's doing drama, he's doing drama. That one seemed like he was reporting.
Yes, he's reporting his experience.
Nice prose.
His experience, what he experienced there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
and he's blaming that, which, the last caller has just said is a lot of rubbish. That, if there was anything to this, why didn't he bring it up there?
He couldn't have brought it there.
This is yet another distraction.
He did not apportion any blame. I think it was just voicing out an opinion that, look, this was likely to be happening there, and perhaps what we experienced too, by benefit of with the benefit of hindsight.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, the implication, of course, is that how can any good thing come out of there?
My point is this: something good must be able to come out of that. Otherwise, we'll demolish that structure. Go to a place that's quite holy to use. If there are demons there, let's get rid of the demons.
Mr. Johnson, Agege, good morning.
For a long time we don't see you.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for calling in.
Yes. You see, one thing I realize with our people is that 90% of us are Confucianists.
Hypocrites.
I beg to say that many of us are Confucianists. You see, when somebody is discussing on television like this, you will have the intellectuals digging out points, correct points. People will call and condemn them on that topic. We are Confucianists. 90% are Confucianists. You see, the black man has problems. We don't think deeply before we do things. Once we get to position, we make ourselves the lord of the people. That is the problem we are having in this country. Anybody in position in this country today and yesterday, they always feel big and rule the people wrongly. So many of us are confucionists. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Now, I wonder what Mr. Johnson was saying.
The point
in
he was
there.
trying to make.
The point he was trying to make. I think he gave the impression that he's coming along with the drift in the studio.
Yes.
But that people that are calling in are not taking it as seriously as he would want us to take it, and that they're just confusing the waters, muddying the waters, so to speak. That seemed to be his impression. So he likes to keep... I would therefore surmise that maybe what Mr. Johnson is saying is that, can you guys please continue and explore a bit more this spiritual demons in Aso Rock business? Because it's a thing that people know about, but it's just that it's not politically correct to speak about
No,
it.
you see...
Whoever speaks about demons...
I think if I want to be sarcastic,
Yes.
I would say that the National Security Advisor should allocate funds to do spiritual cleansing.
You see,
to cleanse that place.
Yori,
So if that will solve the problem.
the point I'm making...
Wait a minute. Let
You
me
remember Goodluck gave approval for money to...
Spiritual 400 million.
Yes.
Yes,
100
there was
for prayers.
something like that. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, what Ruben Abati was saying, I want to say that he's saying it from the point of view of his limited understanding of what is spiritual. Okay. From the privileged position of knowledge that I stand on the matter, I can tell you this. Demons cannot affect a person that is not demonic himself. Demons are not resident in one place. They are found virtually everywhere. So it is not special that there are some special demons in Aso Rock. Why am I saying this? If there are demons there, how come that this president that we have now is able to do things that some other presidents have not been able to do? For the first time, we are seeing that a Supreme Court judge can be brought to justice when it goes wrong. We are seeing that a number 3 man in the country can be docked for doing wrong. We are seeing that there is a man in leadership who says, I'm not going to steal public money, and whoever steals, I'm going to jail him. And he's doing things towards that. Is it not the same Aso Rock that person is saying that other people before him could not stay? Dr. Fasi raised a question or an observation about why things are not going well. I can say here, it is because mankind is under divine judgment. What it entails is that anything that is wrong, that is not in the right direction, is getting destroyed. It doesn't stand. If you try it before long, it will collapse and it will expose itself for people to see, for the wrongness in it to show, so that it destroys itself. Okay. It's happening in families, it's happening in corporations, it's happening in clubs, it's happening virtually everywhere. Just make a keener observation. You will see that it is not peculiar to one particular place. That's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that dissertation, actually.
I still maintain it. It's not Aso Rock alone that you have demons.
Which is what Mr. Joseph just said.
In quote, no.
That it's not news.
My own, I don't want to go to
okay.
esoteric explanation of spiritualism or whatever. No. What I'm saying is that if you study, actions around power, that is exactly what happens every time. People will be jostling for the control of the man on the seat. If he allows it, they will get hold of him and use him towards their own ends. That's why Yoruba will tell you that agbára òjò olóhùn nílé wo onílé ni o gbọ́dọ̀ gbà fún. If you're on top of your job, you bring your own, I will now sit down, I will analyze everything you've given me. I say, this one makes sense. This one doesn't make, I'll take this, I'll jettison this. why leaders have AIDS.
Is this happening to us because we're Nigerians, or it's a
No,
universal
no,
thing?
no, I don't want to buy that argument.
Okay,
You see,
hold the thought, please. I beg your pardon. Let me just quickly bring in our last caller, Habib. Mr. Habib calling in from Ajota.
Good morning, my dad is in the house.
Hello, good morning. Mr. Habib.
Yeah,
Okay.
particularly to what Ruben Abati said, there's a possibility of what he's saying because in life you're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to the facts. If he has facts to place on the table for the public to see, to justify his assertion of demons in Aso Rock, let him bring it out. That's on one side. However, let's give him the benefit of the doubt because speaking about demons in Aso Rock, there's a possibility whereby the foundations in which Aso Rock was built upon may be the actual problem of this thing. And how do I mean? If you go through history, you look at most of these temples the Egyptians built over time, you discover that they are not just built anyhow. They are located for a purpose, probably to worship a spiritual god or something.
This is
So,
getting
even
deep.
if you look at what
This
he
is
did
getting
in
very,
Egypt,
very deep. But then Ruben Abati went and started it all. But forgive me for interrupting you. But I appreciate your call, but we fast run out of time. And but that is yet another perspective but then the gentleman did say, if you were to even give it the benefit of doubt, so you can put everything else under that, just for the sake of.
I've said it. It all depends on the weight you want to attach to it.
Yes.
But the fact is that our leaders must have intellectual depth. Our leaders must study the happenings around the world and ensure that this country that is destined to be great being held back by forces of irresponsibility, ineptitude, retrogression, indecision, laziness, corruption should not be allowed to reign.
Yeah, but
Our leaders.
But that, Fasi, you probably will agree, that's going to require a paradigm shift. This whole change thing is going to require a paradigm shift beyond the mountain that
then
we're
our
in now.
leadership must
And
our leadership must be prepared to put on the thinking cap. They must know that it costs a lot of hard work. And not a situation where some cabal will be somewhere manipulating the minds of our leaders. Our leaders must move above that and take us to the promised land.
Which is Malam Jaji.
Because the promised land is a mirage. It's still a mirage.
You see,
but we're focused on it, according to the administration. We're focused on it.
I hope so. We're about 2 years gone now. I want to hear what my friend will say to that. About half of the life of this administration is gone.
Okay. Closing thoughts on this whole.
as far as I'm
focus
concerned, if
But you see, sorry, how about that point about the paradigm shift? Because you see, we can talk about this from today to
the
tomorrow.
the paradigm was shifted in 2015 when PDP was booted away and APC sworn in. Now the problem now is, as he had put it, within the system, APC itself, there are centrifugal forces within that are making things not to be the way those who envisioned the original change.
Because that, thank you.
Now
because
they are
the
now
original vision
strategically
was
placed
changed.
in government, that they are now hampering the realization of that original. I'm telling you.
You reckon?
Yes, as I'm
because
sitting
the government
down
can't
here,
be working against itself.
I used to be very, very positive about the government of President Buhari. I'm having my doubt now that is it the change I work for? And I'm sure many people outside there too are saying the same thing. And that's why the woman said the 15-point-something million Nigerians that voted for APC, they will have to reckon with them. I applaud the woman because she's now giving us early signal warning that things are not going the way they should have gone in the first place. And Chief Fasi is right.
By the
2
woman,
years, but
by the woman
in
you're
6 months
talking
we can
about,
change
the
it.
president's wife, Aisha Buhari.
No, I'm looking at her as
Okay.
Aisha Buhari in Nigeria.
The message is sent out.
Yes.
Not
the message has been sent
you
already.
Can forget you can forget about the messenger.
Take the message. Take the message, imbibe it, do something about it. And I'm telling you, the president has started reacting.
I will expect
the
president
and the nominees, ambassadorial nominees, their reaction to what she said. Like Nimbe Mamura.
Okay.
When president was campaigning, you see Nimbe here with him, you see him. So when he was to make a ministerial appointment, I had expected my friend to be first among, but he wasn't because
So many of them. Look
And
at
so many of them
look at our
also
sister.
feel-
Abigail Dabiri,
that has
only
nothing to do with
senior
what we were
social
doing.
assistant.
He didn't
But
campaign with
the
us. He
point-
didn't go under the
One by
sun.
one, please.
But the point is that one will expect the president now to rejig his kitchen cabinet.
He should take interest in what is
The
happening.
kitchen cabinet, and he should be more decisive and take interest in the party. Otherwise, because there's no party cohesion.
I don't belong to
We're gonna
anybody.
have
I
to leave
belong
it
to
there.
everybody.
We're going to have to leave it there. We don't have any
leave
more
it
time.
there.
But thank you, gentlemen. I think the messages, you put your messages
I hope,
across.
I hope my brother is not frustrated because he's only been there.
Dr. Fassi, Chief Dr. Fassi Yusuf, and Malam Ahmed Moyosore Jaji. Thank you very much.
He should be closer to the president. He's Malam.
I don't know
Thank you
him.
very
I don't
much.
know him.
I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, with a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.